Hey guys, this is our slope and Y-intercept video, and make sure you take good notes because I will not be there tomorrow to help you, and these questions right here are directly correlated to what you're going to be doing tomorrow in class. Alright, we want to find the slope and Y-intercept of each one of these three. To do that, we need to think of the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Again, m right here is our slope, and our y-intercept is the b. Okay. Well, when looking at here, I see my y-intercept, so we're going to go ahead and pinpoint that. And the y-intercept is going to be -1 because it's in the location of where b is, and the slope is going to give me 2. It's right in front of the x. So my slope is going to be equal to 2. This one's a pretty basic standard one. Let's look at one that's a little bit trickier. Y. Well, if I were to sketch a quick graph of what the y equals looks like of 5, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we get a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have 0 slope. If I put a skateboard on there, it wouldn't go anywhere. So the slope is 0. Notice there's no x, so the slope is just nothing. Okay? We don't have an x, so it's basically 0. My y-intercept still exists though, because if I look at the graph, the y-intercept appears to be at 5. That's where it crosses. So we're always going to get a slope of 0 for y equals lines, and where it goes through is where our y-intercept is. Our last one, if we were to graph this, we'd go to -5, and it would be a nice vertical line. Well, this has what we call an undefined slope. Okay? The slope is not possible. If you tried to do rise over run and make it an equation, you wouldn't be able to do it. It rises infinitely and it doesn't run. It has a 0 run. You can't have anything over 0. So there is no slope for this. There is no y. We have no slope. Not possible. And y-intercept? Well, it's never going to hit the y-intercept. So where is its y-intercept at? None. Okay? It doesn't hit it. It only hits the x-intercept. It's parallel to the y-axis, so it's never going to hit it. You guys are going to have questions just like these, so rewatch if you didn't understand. Alright, I want to graph this line in the y equals mx plus b form. To do this, I need to know what the y-intercept is first. Well, the y-intercept's right here. It appears it's at 3, so I can just plug in positive 3. The next thing I want to do is find the slope. To find the slope, I need the rise over the run. Okay, so remember, m is the slope. It's always the rise over the run. Well, to go from this point here to this point here, I'm going to have to go down 1 and 2 to the right. So I'm going to go down 1 and 2 to the right. So I should get -1/2. I'm going to fill everything else in. We get y equals 1/2. The x has to come down, and we're set. So we can use our graph to figure out where the y-intercept is, where it hits. That's going to be b. And then I use my slope. How much should I go down? How much should I go over to generate the rise over the run? What if I asked you to find the slope between these 2 points? Well, I could map them and I could do what I did in the last problem and count how many spaces are away. Or you're going to get a worksheet that's going to explain this. We can find the slope by using this nice formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is called the slope formula. It helps us figure out what slope is. Well, what's y2, y1, x2, x1? Well, isn't it true an ordered pair is an x comma y? Well, the problem is we have two x comma y's. Well, let's label one of them as our first point. Doesn't matter, but we'll call this x1 and y1. So this must be x2 and y2. Knowing this formula and remembering that slope is really rise, which doesn't the y's have to do with the rising and the x has to do with the running? This is just finding our slope. It's the difference. It's kind of like what we did when we counted. So let's go ahead and plug it in. Y2 is going to be 8 minus Y1. Okay, again, notice how I got these numbers. I'll match them up with their own color. Y2, Y1, okay, Y2 minus Y1, and the whole thing over, and now we got to get X2, which is 4, minus X1, which is 2. And we'll go ahead and color code those. 4 is X2, and 2 is going to be X1. Okay? So we have those pieces. Whoops, I did it to the wrong one. It's supposed to be this number up here. And this is supposed to be this number up here. There you go. But we have it in. Now we just have to do some basic arithmetic. 8 minus 4 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. I can reduce this. 2 goes into 4 twice. And there's my slope. Okay, there it is. Find the equation of slope-intercept form. This is pretty tricky. We have to find our slope first. We have 2 points. I know I can use what's called my slope formula. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So we label our points X, Y, X, Y. I'm going to label this as 1, 1, 2, 2. I'm going to plug in a little bit faster this time, so see if you can catch up. 4 minus 5 over 0 minus 3. Let's just double check that because apparently I make mistakes. Y2 is 4, yep. Minus Y1 is 5, yep. X2 is 0 minus 3. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and put in what I know. This is going to be 4 minus 5. That's a negative 1. All over 0 minus 3. That's a negative 3. 2 negatives, that's going to become a positive 1/3. So this right here is equal to my slope, m. Well, if I have my equation in slope-intercept form, I'm still missing my y-intercept, okay? So these are my 2 formulas, slope formula and slope-intercept form, but I'm still missing it. So if I had it, I'd have y equals 1/3 x plus b. I don't know what b is. Well, this is kind of a cool thing. I can actually plug one of these points in here and then solve for b. So let's take our first point. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the 5, and I'm going to plug it in for y. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the 3 and plug it in for x. And then we'll go ahead and fill everything else in normal. Equals 1/3 multiplied by x plus b. Well, what's 1/3 times 3? That's going to become 5 equals 1 plus b. So we subtract 1, and we get 4 equals b. Once I have b, and I also have the m for slope, I can just plug it in. Y equals, instead of m, I'm going to plug in 1/3 x, and instead of b, I'm going to plug in positive 4. And there's my final answer. Okay, there she is. That was a tricky one. I would watch that one a couple times. This is probably the hardest question we're going to have as far as graphing is concerned. These type of questions. We first have to find the slope, then we have to go ahead, take that slope, plug it in the formula to find the y-intercept, and then plug in our m and the b into our equation. Here's our last question, a word problem. When Phil started his new job, he owed the company $65 for his uniform. He was earning $13 per hour. The cost of his uniform is withheld from his earning. Write an equation that models the total money he has, M. So M stands for money. After hours he works. What is the graph of the equation? Okay, well, we want to know how much he has money-wise. So I'm going to go ahead and set up M for money. Now he owes $65, so that's going to be a negative $65 in his income. But he makes $13 per hour. This equation seems to fit. Okay? So this does seem to fit. So if he works 1 hour, he makes $13, but he still owes $65. So until he makes $65, he's going to be in the negatives. How would I graph this? Well, if you haven't noticed, even though this doesn't look like it, but this graph over here to the right is actually in the form of y equals mx plus b. Now I'm going to count my graph by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So this is $60, $10. Again, we're going to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So $80 up here, $10 here. Negative 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80. Oops. 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, $90. Okay? Well, if he didn't work any hours, he's going to owe $65 because that's my B. So $65 is going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 65. It's going to be about right here, in between the two. Well, if he works 1 hour, okay, oh, let's not do these in hours. I'm sorry about that. Let's fix that. Let's do them like this. I think that would be better. Let's just count by ones. 1, 2, whoops, that doesn't go there. My bad. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to 7. If he works 1 hour, he's going to take $13 off. Okay, so that's going to be right around about here. He works another hour, he's going to take another $13 off. So that's a total of $26 off. So now we're around $40. Okay? Oops. 3 hours, he's going to take off $40 about. So $40 off, so he really only owes about $25. 4 hours, 4 times 13, that's going to be 4 times 10 is 30, 4 times 3 is 12, so that's $52. He still owes a little bit of money. 5 hours, he's going to make exactly $65. That's going to be right here. Now, notice mine's curving. That's because I didn't make a very nice graph, but this should be a nice straight line. So once he hits 5 hours, he's actually paid for his final investment. We can check that by writing in 13, 5 hours minus 65. 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 3 is 15. So this is going to be 65 minus 65. That's 0. So when I plug in 5 on my x-intercept, or my x, I should get a value of 0 to come out. Okay, so they just wanted to see a graph of this. You're going to graph it by using 13 and negative 65. We could have also gone up 13 over 1. Bigger numbers, but that's essentially what we did. Bye guys, hope you have good luck tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday.